Glad to have you join us again on Cold Digest Monday. I'm still very much here with Folashade Olabanji Oba, APC politician, joining us on the show today. Good to have you. Stay the course. We also have a caller holding from Ilorin. Olanrewaju, are you still there?
Yes, of course.
All right, welcome to Cold Digest. Go ahead with the contribution.
Good morning.
Good morning,
The
sir.
guest in the house.
Morning, sir.
Comrade Olariwaju issue. I want to share my take based on the issues and controversies in our political landscape. Sincerely speaking, everybody knows that the presence is very tense because of the ready preparation and the readiness here and there, either to vote the Jonathan to continue or otherwise. And this is not new. If we're in a globalized world, we remember when Obama contested his opposition, there was tense of thought, the seal for people to pass the case has been there. But my take on this matter is that we need to see Nigeria as a country of ours, regardless of our religion affiliations. If we see Nigeria as one, definitely we are going to attain greatness. Because when you're looking at all assessments, we have not maintained the tempo of the being the giant of Africa, because Nigeria is facing a lot of challenges, which I believe the essence of government is to think outside the box and fix the loopholes so that the confidence of the people will be around him. I must say, one of the issues or the controversy is the role of our religious leaders. I must tell you that they have a decisive role to play in the society because they are the leading light, be it Muslim, be it Christians, but because they have numbers of followers.
Okay.
They are expected to guide their people. When they guide their people, how they are going to conduct themselves to meet up the peaceful environment in Nigeria. Okay. That should be their paramount, not to make any that are going to overtake the present tense in the country. So I want to appeal very strongly. Unfortunately, the religious leaders to try to abide by the rules and regulations and the teaching their respective religion books. If they do this, they are the way forward. On the final note, I want to appeal to the federal government to be sincere in their bills. Yes, I commend the message passed by the president recently that people should be conscious over their statements. They should avoid any statement that can override the politics. But I want the president to start on his own front. We know the two parties are making series of statements that are capable to fight the politics. You see what Azaidogo said? I think president or one of the candidates never denied that. Once we limit the police opposition into being an ethnocentric or a kind of religion position, it is uncalled for. President is our president, regardless until we see it as such. Anybody that makes a statement against the rule, against the entity of this country should feel the full effort of law, not to make it an account of which in the opposition. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Olanrewaju from Ilorin. Good to hear from you. Of course, you recall what the Minister of Police Affairs said during the launch of the Watch the Watcher book in Lagos, where he came up bold to say that they will now not only arrest but prosecute anyone who speak against outrightly or make such dishonorable utterances against the PDP-led administration. But beyond all of that, and another interesting point made mention by INEC is that no destruction of opponents' posters. It is you that started it, so you say you live in Lagos. You recall how strict Lagos used to be as regards defacing public infrastructures. Yeah, I mean, on your way to the studio today, you definitely will testify that things have changed.
Yeah.
Has the spirit of Lagos gone to sleep again?
No, it's the quality of the season. You know, this is the time, and you know everybody's allowed to now display their posters, getting people sensitized to what their agendas are, all that. So there are some people that just, even when you tell them not to do things, will still go out of their way to destroy some other people's stuff. Not even that the person that has maybe the posters or whatever really did send them. So I think it all comes back to personal attitude and us really having respect for one another. It's important.
Let's take
So
this call. Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Welcome to Call Digest Monday.
Thank you very much.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Wadiandiro from Oshogo.
Okay, Okwade is calling from Oshogbo. Please go ahead with your contribution, Okwade.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Alubeni.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Alubeni.
Yeah, good morning. Go ahead.
Madam, good morning.
morning, sir.
Okay. I just want to make a contribution to this issue this morning.
Okay.
Yeah. And I believe that 80% of Nigerians want to change this time around. Because what the government of the day is doing is not proper at all. Because we all know what is going on in the whole world. So in most cases in the whole world, when this is not going on, people do vote for change. You take the America, for example, you take India, for example, even you take the UK, for example, they all the time they change it to President Gordon Brown, from Gordon Brown, to the Cameron. But what is happening in Nigeria and today is not the right to move out in terms of government administration. Okay? Even most of the Nigerians in the diaspora, somebody like me, what we've been read about Nigeria for the past 2 3 4 years it's not that period, Nigeria after today is thinking. We don't only need a leader, we need a rescuer who can rescue us from this thinking position our 50%. So as that we need to change the government. It's not the state government that will do that, because if the state government cannot do this for the past 6 years and is promising all they're going to do it in the next 4 years, this is a bullshit. So we need to change the government. And God has really given us the opportunity in this country. We thank God the country has been together in one entity. Otherwise, in some country, what is happening in Nigeria is tantamount to chaos, to serious revolution that is happening in the country today. But we thank God, God has been keeping us together. If you look at the Boko Haram issues, it's enough for us in this country to be shattered. So we thank God for that. So now I could see that for me, because like the previous election, I was a PDP supporter. I voted for the candidate of PDP. I was never a PDP member. I support the APC. Yeah. But I supported the, PDP. I supported the Jonathan administration at that time. But we disappointed almost every Nigerian today. So we need to change the government. So God has given us the basic now, because there are some intellectuals now that have come together and create this government. So we need to look into that. We don't need to look into somebody has been there, let it completed the 6 years. Otherwise, we are waiting with our time, our life, and the generation that is coming. We need to turn this around. So I could see people today as a bazooka Noah Ark. Because God has given us that Ark now. It's a Noah Ark. APC has become a Noah Ark now. So which means we need to make use of it very well. So I will rather encourage everybody to get their PV. Something is making it so hard for them to get it. But we should still try. This is our responsibility, and this is our civic right. We should make that sacrifice. Try to get our PV and go to vote, because if you don't vote, which means you have endorsed somebody. So
It's all right.
if you want to change that, you don't vote. You have already endorsed government on the street.
Okay.
So,
Okwade, thank you for your contribution. Called in from Oshogbo. Let's quickly touch on this issue of no party should issue any inciting statements. Many are also of the opinion that it is important for both parties, the APC and the PDP, to be very diplomatic at this time. But on the other side of the coin is the fact that APC seems to be even more controversial in its statements more than the PDP. For instance, you recall the idea, that particular utterance sometimes in 2011 that if elections result do not favor a particular candidate, that Nigeria, he will make Nigeria ungovernable, and that particular statement is still very much in the front burner. But on the front page of the Nation this morning, you also hear the APC party chairman Oyego saying APC will reject flawed polls. APC will reject flawed polls. I believe that there are also other headlines there here which is talked about. Okay, PPC is saying we won't go to court if election is free and fair. One would have thought that in rejecting flawed polls, part of inciting statement would be to clearly tell Nigerians how they intend to do that, because given the 2011 election as an example, there was post-election violence in some parts of northern Nigeria, which many today believe is as a reaction to the result of the 2011 elections. What are your thoughts along this line?
Well, if you know my chairman, Oyego, like you talk, you will know that he's definitely a man of peace. But truth must be told. And going by the pointers that we have now, we're just letting it be known that we will not tolerate flawed polls. Because if you look at the indices, where we have people already being disenfranchised, we don't know come the days of the election in what form, they're gonna take, and so there's a lot of anxiety, and obviously because he's still the sitting president, we're definitely still gonna need him to make sure that things are done properly.
Do you have any idea how your party intends to go ahead with this rejection in case it's necessary? What's modus operandi?
Well, I know definitely we're not going to be violent. It will still be going to the court, and hopefully, but I pray that it would not get to that level. I really do, because it is not in the interest of Nigerians for any violence or tension to come up after the election, because it doesn't give an enabling ground for
development.
In the country.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Yeah, this Adedeji from Abuja.
Adedeji from Abuja. Turn down the volume of your TV set. Can you do that for me, Adedeji?
This Adedeji from Abuja.
Can you turn down the volume of your television set?
I'm done that.
Beautiful. Go ahead with the contribution now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir.
Madam, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my contribution is that the political saga in this country, we can look what is going on. We see that the best thing for Nigeria now is we focus on General Muhammadu Buhari. He is the best candidate for president. So that's my contribution.
It's all right. Adedeji, do you have your permanent voter card?
Yes, I have it.
Okay. And you're sure all your family members do have it?
Yeah, we have done that.
Okay. So you can make a statement with your PVC. And I wish you all the best in doing that. Thank you for your contribution,
Thank you,
Adedeji.
sir.
Now, let's also, as we're going to wrap up the show now, there are questions of being able to, the role, rather, that the electorate has to play at this time. Of course, we know about the terrorism in northern Nigeria. There are, of course, questions if elections will still hold in those areas at this time. But what would you say is that patriotic role that the Nigerian electorate has to play as we count down now to the February 14 presidential election?
Wow. I think I'll still just have them be patient and just be resolute that on the day of the election they must go out there and exercise their voting rights and make sure that, and I want to talk as a mother now, because it's normally the youth that they used to perpetrate a lot of the violence and all that. That we should be very vigilant, talk to our children, our youths, let them know that violence is definitely not an option, and definitely every life of every Nigerian is important. So, in as much as you want to go out and say you want to hurt somebody, you might also get hurt in the process. So, I think that message is very important. And so, the power that we all have is in our hands, and that is your voter's card. And you can make a statement with that. And I pray everybody's vote will count.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Henry from Abia.
Henry from Abia, good morning.
Yes,
You're right here in the studio with me, Henry. Go ahead with your contribution.
okay. I want to thank everybody on the stage, both you and another.
Thank you, you're welcome.
I want to look on maybe 4 issues that are very, very brief.
Okay, you have just 2 minutes. Go ahead.
The two some men that are contesting, Jonathan and Buhari, if you press one of the records from the past military head of state, he committed what I would call by overthrowing Shanari that was democratically elected. Then secondly, the past election, 2011, he made a comment that the election, if he lost it, it will be lost. And it happened. The Boko Haram keep on doing it. Another issue is considering his age, 72 years now. He's an old man. He's a grandfather. He should be at home resting. In fact, if it was in the USA, he would be kept in a private room where people, young men, will be taking care of him. Another issue is Tunde Bakari, his former running mate, saying now that the election should be shifted for 6 months. In fact, he should be arrested. This is an inciting statement. He tries to put a crisis in the country. Who is Tunde Bakari? Is he a member of the National Assembly? Is he one of the deputies? That's my take. Then lastly, I want to say that Buhari is an idiot. Because how can 170 million members of the country having education and this and that, then the person coming up to be the president cannot even boast of BSc, cannot even boast of WAEC. In fact, he should go in and rest. He has no evidence to lead this country academically. And that's my take. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your contribution, Henry, a colleague from Abia. Well, I believe that we also have to establish that there are more than just the PDP and the APC candidates for the presidential election.
Yes.
For instance, sometimes late last year, I also had the presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party. Martins, and over there, about 12 or 13 more than just 2 of them contesting. Well, I'm sure you quickly want to react to that. Very interesting call we had there.
I know. I think a bit too excited, I would say, because I know he said Pastor Tunde Bakari does not belong to the assembly or whatever, but even Pastor Tunde Bakari said it was his own opinion. And so he didn't say it's a rule of law or because he said it, every Nigerian must, but obviously he said those things based on facts that is on ground and should not just be waved over because they're truly the facts that we're dealing with. Now, I am not saying I support the extension of the dates because that is another constitutional thing, and unless the House of Assembly or whatever, they all come again and say, okay, so this is now the new, then we get to that, but it will never get to that at
He
this
also
point.
talked about the certification, the academic qualification of your candidate.
Yeah, but I just said that. I said it's I believe that's just a joke that some politician, obviously in the opposition now, the PDP, are trying to use to silence or disrespect our candidate. You know, but by all ramifications, you know, um, uh, he already had. He was a former head of state, for crying out loud, you know. A major general in the army. Um, all these, I mean, this is where I go about this dog eat dog politic that we do. We need to move away from that and treat each other like, you know, the respect as who we truly want to be respected as well. So I'm not from that school of thought. I know he definitely has his papers and history. Um, Definitely has proved him performance driven. He to get to Major General in the army, trust me, it's not child's play.
Before I let you go, there's another very controversial issue that we've been touching on. Of course, we've heard about the 21 billion naira for the APC. We've heard about the 5 billion naira.
No, 21 billion naira for the PDP.
I mean, for the PDP, I beg your pardon. And
you.
then the APC already kickstarting with 5 billion naira. We know there will still be more. And the idea now is that many of this cash will also trickle down. You know how it goes now. You go what they call the stomach infrastructure. It's not only limited to the PDP. We saw Ashwaju Tinubu also distributing some of those goodies on Christmas Day. And it's one school of thoughts that has been brought over from almost every political party in Nigeria. There are people who would say, don't collect the money because it is not good. Others will say, I've heard some APC chieftains actually say, collect the money. It's your money. The money they stole, but vote your conscience. What's your position as regards this before you go?
I think it is what it is. In Nigeria, it's very sad that we've come to this stomach infrastructure, and I think it's just because of the naked poverty that we have out there on the street. It's in reality that a lot of people are not where they need to be.
Okay.
And so where they feel they get instant gratification, they quickly will go for it.
They go back.
But we are telling them that this time around, you know, you need to vote for your conscience. Think about the Nigeria that you imagine, you know, that you really want to be, and choose the best candidate.
Should they collect the money? Because definitely somebody will offer money.
Collect the money, but vote your conscience.
Okay. Nice. Looks like that's the official position of the APC. Hello, good morning. You're our last caller on the show today.
Yeah, this is Ahmed on the line.
INEC.
Ahmed.
Oh, Ali.
Ahmed.
Oh,
Okay, Ahmed. Go ahead. There's a different pronunciation for that. Where are you calling from?
Yeah.
Where are you calling from, Ahmed? Where are you calling from?
From Abuja.
From Abuja. All right, you have 1 minute. Go ahead with the contribution.
Yeah. You talk about the age of Buhari, saying that he's too old to rule this country. The Obasanjo has already ruled this country for a good, done well.
Okay.
He has done well. So, sincerely speaking, age does not mean anything. Does not mean anything.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Ahmed from Abuja, and that's our last caller on the show. Not many people will agree with him, especially Yinka Odumaki, who replied Obasanjo with his book, Watch the Watcher. I was also with him, yeah, and you need to read that book. Very amazing book. So
Yes.
Ahmed might already have one opposition in Yinka Odumaki. Thank you very much for Lashade Olabanji for joining us today
Thank you,
on
sir.
Cold Eye. Just a
I
big thank you
appreciate
to
being
everyone who called. Pastor Sadiq called in from Lagos. We had Christopher from Kwara. Anna, you called in from Oka. Chimeze from Aba. Taye from Kano. Comrade Olariwaju called in from Ilorin. We'll also add Okwade called in from Oshogo. Adedeji from Abuja. Henry from Abia. And Ahmed from Abuja. Once again, madam, good to have you join us today.
Thank you. Happy New Year again.
We hope that subsequently you also find time to join us on Cold Digest.
Sure will.
Well, that wraps it on the show this Monday. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow for another exciting edition of the show. A big thank you to everyone that has worked together with me. Of course, my producer, Emmanuel Ajayi. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Stick around for the top of the hour news.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.